I'm going to be honest with you. Kanye is the worst part of this entire album.
That's crazy to say, but
he's the worst part.
Yeah, there are very few songs where he's the best part of the song.
Which one?
I can't think of any off top. Because I have that in my notes too of a couple songs where it's like literally Kanye is the worst part of this song. I'm happy you said that. We're gonna get to that too.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. This is another episode of Album Mode. We review a new album every single week. We look at the lyrics, the production, the overall aesthetic of the album, and how that album fits into the context of that artist's career. For all of you watching us on YouTube, like this video, subscribe to us, and leave a comment. We're on our way to 5,000 subscribers. Please help us get there. Share this video. My name is Adriel Smiley, a.k.a. AdrielSmiley.com, a.k.a. Adriel Smiley Official, a.k.a. The Godfather, and we are here with His Royal Highness, a.k.a. The Bunny. You're missing your... All right, come on. I'm giving you AKAs that you ain't even prepared for.
All right, we're here.
Yeah, this is why you watch on YouTube, of course. He's getting out his little bunny suitcase. There we go. AKA The Bunny, King Grant.
What's happening, people? We're back. This time we're reviewing the infamous Kanye West. Easy. Ye? He's actually now professionally known as Ye. And Ty Dolla sign. They combined to make this group, which is just like the letter Y and S, but the Y has like a strike through it.
Yes.
And the album's name is Vultures 1. So allegedly there's going to be more.
There's always going to be more.
But considering it's Kanye West, nobody knows what's going to happen. Okay? So Kanye West, rapper, producer, songwriter, singer sometimes. Kanye West basically self-immolated over the past 2 years, these like crazy anti-Semitic remarks that he made, whether or not it was explicitly or implicitly going on, what was it, the Drink Champs podcast.
Oh yeah.
And with the all black mask, and he's actually back with the all black mask on the album cover, where he was basically just like, I want to say proudly staking his claim to anti-Semitism, which was bizarre, but not so bizarre for people that knew Kanye for a long period of time. They actually did know that he was like that, but it was more, I want to say, more low-key. It was not part of his...
Yeah, he wasn't shouting from the rooftops.
Yeah, it was not part of his public persona. It was part of his private persona. But now it's part of his public persona. He has apologized, allegedly. Yeah, quote unquote, apologized about his remarks. He did that in like an Instagram post. It was written completely in Hebrew. So any of his English speaking fans could not read it. They had to get a translation of it. And then you just think about like, who is this audience? Like, who is this pointed towards? Like the apology, like, right, I get, the anti-Semitic remarks. So you'd be posting it in Hebrew, but you would also post that in English. Like like 90% of your fans speak English. So that's where Kanye is, I would say, currently. Whether or not anybody believes his apology is debatable.
I don't believe any of it.
Right? Especially when it comes to the lyrics on his music, which we'll get into. Pretty much Kanye West has been a massive figure in music for almost 20 years now.
No, exactly 20 years, yeah.
And his remarks and then this album are like kind of like tied together in a way where it's like, is he surviving it? Like, is he going to be able to survive it? Are people still going to listen to it?
This is an important album, regardless.
Whether or not it's good,
different story.
That's a different story, because I listened to this probably 4 or 5 times before this review, and every subsequent listen, I came back thinking that this was much worse than the previous listen.
I think where I'm at with Kanye in terms of his remarks outside of his music is I realize that Kanye is out to offend any group of people until there's no one left. That's basically what's going on. He went from offending white people to offending black people, then offending Jewish people. Yeah. And we can just spin the Price is Right spinner and decide who's next. Because I don't think this is the end of Kanye doing that kind of thing. I don't think this will be the only time that he does something like that and give an apology.
Yeah.
So
there's also this remark about like the artist versus their art being able to separate the two. But I don't think you can really do that with Kanye.
It's hard to do because he raps about stuff going on in his.
He raps about himself. I think there was I forgot. There was like an article that was like tracking like how like self-centered certain rappers are, like how frequently they rap about themselves and say "I" in their music. And Kanye West was like far and away the leader for a person that says "I" in their raps. So when it comes to Kanye West, that's why it's like separating the art and the artist is like kind of not possible with him.
Yeah, he makes it not possible.
Yeah.
And I think there's something that I saw someone say a few months back is that we're forgetting that this guy is trying to sell albums.
Yeah.
He will do whatever it takes to sell the album, whether it's going at Drake for 8 months or going out Juice for 8 months.
Yeah.
You know, he'll do whatever it takes to sell the album, but somehow people keep letting him into the studio, giving him internet access. And that was part of the rollout. There was a bunch of leaks. So this name, Vultures, is a name that we've had for a while. So surprised that it stayed the same name, because when an album like this kind of leaks several times, sometimes the name changes for sure, especially with Kanye. We saw that with The Life of Pablo, all the names it had before it became Life of Pablo. So surprised that it kept the same name. There was that Art Basel show where everyone was on stage. You know, he had his daughter on stage with him, Lil Durk, Freddie Gibbs, Ty Dolla $ign, of course. And people thought that was the album. And, you know, I think it's interesting to start there because you said every time you listen to the album, it got worse for you. That album, like from the Art Basel, people liked. So I didn't watch that stream as closely, so I can't remember what songs are here and which ones are not. I know the Freddie Gibbs song is the same and the Northwest song is the same.
Yeah.
But that album, even though it was a live stream that people were ripping, that album had a lot of love for it. So I think it's very interesting that the album that we did end up getting, spoiler, not going to be as highly reviewed as that Art Basel album. And then last but not least, before the lyrics, it was that Backstreet Boys sample. That was a huge deal. Everyone was, oh my goodness, a Backstreet Boys sample. And on Vultures, there's nowhere to be found.
Yep.
And I think that's interesting in terms of will he make it out of this, is to me, that is the proof to me that it seems like he will. Because I've heard that song outside at like bars and clubs multiple times. A song from a live stream that's not on this album.
Yeah.
So I think, something like that, even this song being removed from streaming, I think this is he's tried this a couple times, but I think there's a way where it's almost people are going to have to find a way to listen to this album when some won't.
Yeah.
But he's creating that energy of people trying to find a way to play this album.
Yeah, I guess so. But I also realized with that song that there's going to be hurdles he's just not going to be able to jump over anymore. Like in 2016, that sample is probably clearable for him.
Well, the rumor is that they already cleared it. That's kind of why I think it's interesting, because the rumor is someone asked them when that song was leaked, and they said they had already cleared it. So that's why I think it's interesting that it's not on here when they had spoken that, and maybe that, and like I think this is part of what you're saying is maybe that was a backlash. They had already cleared it, and then everyone said, "How dare you?" I don't know that that's what happened, but that could be a part of it.
Yeah, and then there's also that element of where when this album first came out, remember there was him wearing the Jason mask.
Oh yeah,
on the cover.
Yeah.
That's gone. Just one day, like in between Friday and this recording, that mask just disappeared,
like
and
that
his face is just completely black on the cover. So there's always good. I think that with Kanye's music, it's always going to have. There's always going to be hurdles now. Like I think that if you're a Yeezy head, which I am definitely not at this point. You have to do some mental gymnastics to wrap your head around all of it. Every single element of Kanye's Kanye-ness at this point. You got to be able to, it's the art, not the artist. Like I only care about the music, and it's like, he said this, but he apologized. Like you have to do so much jumping around to be like a diehard Yeezy person, and it's just unreal. It's just unreal. Like I think that this review, I think honestly, after this review, he might be in the NBA Youngboy zone for me.
I thought he already was. I thought he already was. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
I thought he already was because I think, and my issue with this, and Kanye to me is very similar to Trump in this way, and I hate to compare the two, even though Kanye must love it.
Yeah.
You know, in a sense, we prove him right every time because this is we're now 4 albums deep of he should be in the NBA Youngboy song. Is there a better way to kind of shun that other side? Because again, this album is, I'm assuming, he's gonna finish at #1. I'm interested to see the label and streaming gymnastics that they do to try and lower the numbers for this project and, you know, not make it go #1. But I think that this is again proving the point that nothing has changed in that respect. And that ties to my lyrics because I think Kanye lyrically, one of the first things I wrote in my whole notes is that lyrically he is down bad. Just not it.
Tragically bad. Like tragically bad on this album. I'm gonna be honest with you. Kanye is the worst part of this entire album.
That's crazy to say, but
he's the worst part.
Yeah, there are very few songs where he's the best part of the song.
Which one?
I can't think of any off top. Because I have that in my notes too of a couple songs where it's like literally Kanye's the worst part of this song. I'm happy you said that. We're gonna get to that too.
Yeah.
But I noticed this change around the life of Pablo. And to me, Kanye's, you know, career can kind of be separated into a few parts. Obviously, there's the early time with College Dropout leading up into Graduation, 808s and Heartbreaks. Then there's the next kind of the good music era. You know, you got that Cruel Summer compilation album. You get Watch the Throne. Some people call this the leather Kanye.
Right.
And then you get the next part of Kanye where him and Kid Cudi are friends again. He does that album with Pusha T. And it kind of leads us into this next part of his career where it's a lot of beef with Drake. And around the life of Pablo time, he had a lot of these bars that were kind of Instagram caption-y, shock value type of bars. And I think of that one on Father Stretch Your Hands where he talks about, you know, the girl in her asshole. And, you know, you all know what song I'm talking about. And Kanye had definitely bars that stood out in the beginning of his career, but they still fit the song. You know, it still fit the song. A lot of this album is just lyrics that it's like, I'm trying to find a way to surprise you. Like, I'm trying to find a way to, and I don't love that from Kanye because he's shown that he's better than that. But on Keys to My Life is the one time where it's not really that. It's actually more autobiographical, talking about his life. And why I highlighted this is because of all the rappers in history, Kanye's you know, personal life is probably some of the most public. Yeah. You know, of any. So him talking about things in his personal life is a very different tone than, you know, someone who we're not as familiar. On verse 1 in Keys to My Life, he says, "Look at what I stumbled on. Another nigga chilling on your couch with pajamas on. Thought I was the only one. How dare you have a nigga in your house eating Papa John's? Where you get that money from? Looking at how far we come. I bought your first Vacheron. Guess we had an awesome run. Ever since I lost my mom, you was like my foster mom. Hold me like your only son. Hold me like the homies in the shy when they hold their guns. Hold me like a trophy in the sky when they know they won." So the rumor online is that this whole section is about Kim K and Pete Davidson. And why I thought this was so interesting is because if we didn't have the information behind the scenes, okay, let's suspend reality for a second. We don't know Pete Davidson, we don't know Kim K, and this happened behind the scenes. This would sound, okay, he's telling us something. That must hurt, nigga on your couch. Oh my goodness. How he put it in this verse compared to what actually happened and how we saw it go down, two very different things.
Yeah, well, because well, everybody is the hero in their own life, right? They think that they're the champion. They think that they're the main character, right? So the way that he portrays Pete Davidson is like, you know, it's an unreliable narrator, right? And that's pretty much how that entire sequence goes. I would say even after that, right, because this is Keys to My Life, right? The chorus that comes out from Ty Dolla Sign comes out like a burp, bro. This is terrible. Like, it basically is off, it's like off the rhythm of the entire song, where he's like, wasn't it always this way? Wasn't it always this way? Putting it all on display, using up all your sick days, put you with all your mistakes, listen to all my mixtapes, supposed to be this way, supposed to always be this way. That portion for the audio listeners is probably gonna be the best part, where it's like, it's just like Kanye is like rapping about this like total alternate reality of what happened in real life, then this like just total just like vomit of like Ty Dolla Sign's hook. It's actually crazy. Like I've never heard a Kanye song that was just like jank. Like it was jank.
This album is very much giving demo vibes. That's what I said. I like these. A lot of these songs sound like they're not done. Not from just like a mixed and engineered perspective, but even song structure.
Right.
You know, the transitions on one song is not as smooth as we've come to see from Kanye. And the thing I think is interesting too is, you're right.
In that space of like you're talking about the transitions between songs. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I wanted to bring this up. Beg for Forgiveness is like this very like large and elaborate song, and it has like that choir that's like saying beg for forgiveness, right? Over and over, and then just like clips and ends, and then a new song starts. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
Yeah, this is very much giving like it's not all the way done. And I think too, he's a hero in his own story in a sense. But I feel like there's no accountability on this project lyrically.
Oh my God, accountability.
I know I'm asking a lot by even mentioning that word, in this review. But I think, part of being an artist is being truthful. And I think that, he's shown that in the past. Now, again, this is a different time. Expect different things. But I really, compare it to when the whole Taylor Swift thing happened.
Right.
And that was a huge low for Kanye, and people really questioning his character and a whole bunch of other things. And
isn't it crazy how Taylor Swift ended up on top after all that? Taylor Swift is winning right now. And Taylor Swift just won her first Super Bowl ring, bro.
Wow.
We're talking about.
Wow.
We're talking about.
It's crazy how the world turns, because it was only a few years ago that we caught Taylor lying on camera. And no one said anything. Do you remember that?
Wait, what do you mean?
When Kanye had that Taylor line on the song, and everyone was upset, and she said she didn't clear it, and then he had a video of her saying it was okay. Yeah. The things that we conveniently forget, I just think it's
and now she's got the first Super Bowl ring with the Chiefs. She's part of the Chiefs dynasty.
You're doing what the NFL is doing. Taylor's not involved in this at all, and somehow we're getting a Taylor Swift aside.
I'm just saying, she's up right now. Is she or is she not up?
No, she's up, and I think about when Dr. Dynasty came out, their first single was Runaway, you know? And if you think about the message of Runaway, that chorus, compared to the the rest of the album, it's like, that's almost a climate check that he was able to do then that he doesn't have now, is my point. Right. Obviously, there's no single here, but even the way he's talking about situations where we know what happened, I think that's the difference here is, Meg, if you think about Meg and Party and their back and forth, they're telling us what happened. We have no idea. We're learning from the records. This is a situation where if you was following Kanye on Instagram, you saw every threat to Pete Davidson's life in high definition. So I just think that is so interesting for him lyrically. But the thing you said about things feeling like they're not transitions not well, this whole project is just giving demo to me. Yeah, it's so much and I like some parts of it, but it's just giving demo to me, and I hate that the lyrics are a part of that as well. Yeah, it's the likes of it are very, very, very few and far between. When we get to production, I mean, people who have been listening to the Album with podcasts for a while know that, like, if I don't like something, I'm going to be able to tell you exactly why I don't like it as well. But I think that when it comes to this album in the lyrics, I mean, there's a sequence where in Burn, where I would say Burn is the best song. And I think a lot of people are saying that. Yeah, I think Burn is the best song. But it's undermined by every other song that is on the album, because in the verse he's like, "Who's not entertained by my pain? Who ain't cash a check off my name? When my campaign turned to campaign, I burned $8 million off my chains." Okay, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going, and then burn, baby, burn. Sometimes it hurts. I guess I never learned. To who it may concern, the CEO of the firm is now somewhere smoking sherm with Big Worm. Let's do a little bit more. Man, a couple wrong turns could fry you forever. It's a permanent burn. All right, let's stop there. So that entire section is basically about
him, it's about a couple of things. First, the idea that Kanye West, just like mentioning Kanye West, that's a headline booster, bro. Like anybody can act whatever way that they want to. It's like if you type Kanye West into your tweet and hit send on it, there's gonna be more people responding to it.
Yeah.
If you type it into a headline and hit post, there's gonna be more people tuning into it. And if you do a review on his album and post it on the internet, there's gonna be more people listening to it, right? But he also undermines, like literally in the same verse, he's like, my campaign turned to campaign, right? I burned 8 million to take off my chains. It's like, bro, he's talking about like that $8 billion deal he had with Adidas. That's self-immolation, my guy. Like, there's no like, oh, like, I got burned by this, and that, or something happened to me. It's like, no, you spontaneously combusted and burnt yourself to cinders.
Yeah, nothing happened. You
right?
Like,
there's no, oh my God, I can't believe this happened to me. It's like, no, you did this legitimately to yourself.
Unsolicited.
Unsolicited. Because you would think that, somebody who said all these things and then apologized, allegedly, quote unquote apologized, would like understand that maybe constantly referencing back to that period of your life in a way that makes you see that you project yourself as being the victim is like stupid, like actually dumb, like not smart. Like I just don't really understand. I just don't get it. Like Kanye West to me seems as somebody that is pretty self-aware to a degree, where he just like I think he's self-aware to the point where he's like, bro, I could drop anything and people are gonna be into it. Like he definitely understands when it comes to like the internet and drawing traffic and stuff like that. He's definitely on it. Remember, again, just like you said earlier, like he had a whole promo of a song that didn't even release, right, with the Backstreet Boys. But the Backstreet Boys thing drew people in. They're like, holy shit, right? So that's another thing where I'm just like he's just constantly just like undercutting himself, right? So whether or not he cares is also up for debate, which I don't think he cares.
No.
I don't think Kanye West cares. But yeah, so that's a situation for me where I just think that he's always undercutting his quote unquote apology and this you know what this album should be, honestly? It should be some sort of like redemption type of album where he's trying to like stake a claim to like actually solve things, but Kanye West not a person to apologize. Has Kanye West ever apologized in his entire life?
I was gonna say not really. Not that I know of.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think the issue here for Kanye is that public perception is not enough to prove that Kanye is wrong. Yeah, because there was that whole era when he was talking about how great he was going to do in fashion and change the game, and everyone called him crazy, and then he became a billionaire through Yeezy. Yeah, so public perception, doesn't hold the weight that it should to be as an example of you're in the wrong here. Yeah, because his entire life, people have told them that you can't do a specific thing, right? Being a producer then rapper, people are like, you can't really do that. And then he was like, well, going from like being a rapper about, what do you rap about? Like you rap about dropping out of high school, like nobody cares. And he's like, no, I'm going to do that too. And then the fashion thing, people are like, yeah, right, like nobody will ever buy into this. And then they did. And then the shoe thing where he's like, I'm just going to dethrone Nike as the shoe seller. People are like, are you fucking crazy? And then Yeezys became like the most popular shoe. So there is no, at this point, Kanye West is a person where like there's no telling him like you're incorrect, because he's just like, I'm just gonna show you like I did with everything else that I did. And I think that's the problem. I think these business professional successes, where again, think about the producer rapper now, how it's not that big a deal. It's like normal in a sense. I always say like we never look at J. Cole as a producer rapper, and he's probably the best one. Because Kanye normalized that, where it's like, you know what, you're a producer, you rap, do your thing now. And that seems to be creeping into other areas. Because there are definitely things in here where it's like, Kanye, we get that you sold a lot of Adidas, but you also said some things. Yeah. And he can't even separate the two. It feels like on this project,
Yeah.
you know, it's almost he's like, you know, he's like I could have still sold the Adidas anyways. So that mind frame, that way of thinking, is still prevalent on here. Is there anything else you have for lyrics? Because I want to talk about production.
I think that there's also that one section where he's on which track was it? Where he was like, beautiful. Oh, here we go. This is on Back to Me. Which I think he legitimately ruins with this. I just think he ruins the song. I think he ruins so many of the songs. But with this line where he's this is off, like in the notes, in Demar's notes, it says, again, offbeat and rush through. Right? It's this line, beautiful big titty, butt naked women just don't follow the sky, you know? And then he repeats that over and over. That shit does not work. Like, it doesn't fit. Like, it doesn't fit in any bar. He
so
a couple of times pauses the song to say it. It doesn't work.
You know,
like, just technically.
You know, I hated it. And then after a few times, it got stuck in my head. And I said, where is the in between here? Because if it's stuck in my head, it's stuck in someone else's head.
Right.
You know, so it's clearly catchy in a sense where it's stuck in your head. But I also am like, it's very much giving Eminem in that like Marshall Mathers LP2 era.
Yeah.
Where he's making words and phrases fit that don't fit. Like,
it doesn't fit, bro. People are laughing. I think the phrase, which is, he didn't even come up with that because it's from Dogma, the movie, with like Silent Bob, and I forgot the other dude's name. That's not even something he came up with. So everybody's laughing, or people are laughing, and like, you know, repeating that lyric, and it was like, bro, it's not even his idea.
No.
And also, it doesn't fit. Like, it doesn't fit in the song.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so
very, very interesting.
So there's that. Like, there's just so many times where like the lyrics don't fit. It undermines, like, lyrics undermine who he is or he's portraying to be or stuff like that. Like, it's just like actually just a total travesty. There's one last lyric. Because there's more I can go on and on. I mean, there's that part in King where he's talking about
yo, I don't like King.
King is the, I don't want to say the worst song, but one of the worst songs, where he is like, where this is the chorus, okay? This is in the chorus. Crazy, bipolar, anti-Semite, and I'm still the king. I'm still the king. This is what I'm talking about. Like, he doesn't give a shit. Like, he's not reflective about anything that he had said in the past. Like, it's not like I said, it should be like some sort of like reclamation or redemption type of album. He is not doing that.
Yeah, public perception being a certain way has never been a part of Kanye's world.
Right.
You know, even when he was at his peak, they were telling him, oh, you can't sing. You know, when 808s becomes this influential album that changes music. So it's like, now our public perception feels way more valid because it is.
No,
because it is.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at it from his perspective, it's like, y'all public perception doesn't align with what's actually going on. And this is another example of it because, again, he's number one as we're saying this.
Right.
So I think he should have more humility in a sense to be like, you hurt a lot of people with your words. You know, yes, you're still gonna go number one, okay? But just go number one humbly, you know, in a sense. But yeah, there's no redemption, you know, vibe on this project at all.
Yeah.
It feels kind of like, you know, Donda, you know, had a +1. And this is
Donda 3, because remember Donda 2 did actually come out.
Yes. So this is Donda 3.
This is Donda 3.
Production wise, there's a couple things that I do like on here.
Yeah.
Production wise, I think Burn, you said the best song. Burn sounds like it's from SOS. Like that makes a lot of sense of that being one of people's favorite songs because very much, you know, sounds like it could have been on SOS.
Yeah.
Right in that middle section. Talking, I think is that Northwest on Talking.
Yeah.
Drake's son and Kanye's daughter, both of y'all, just stay away from the
I know,
mic.
you just don't need to be.
We just don't need it. Like, I think it's interesting because when Blue was on 444,
yeah,
for that little bit that she was, that was such a novelty at that time. That 444 is, I think, almost a decade old now. And that was such a cool thing of like, oh my gosh, his daughter. And, you know, that was such a cool thing for people. That she had like maybe 4 bars.
Yeah.
And it was part of the song. Talking is like, that could have been something else.
Yeah, it's an overdue, and I think it's just like I guess Drake and Beyonce, they've opened the floodgates for other people to be like, yeah, I'm gonna get my like 8-year-old son or daughter to speak on my album for.
Speaking is fine.
It doesn't, but she's not adding. I don't feel like she's adding.
No, but we don't need them to perform.
Yeah,
you know, like have them speak is fine. Have them speak is fine. Will Smith on Just the Two of Us.
Right.
The intro to that song is his oldest son kind of saying a couple things to him.
Right.
That is fine. I don't need rapper Hands from Northwest. Like that is just not what we need at all.
Right.
Back to Me was the first song that I saved on here. I got to song 5 and I said before I saved anything.
You like that song?
Oh, I'm about to tell you why. I like the song because I had heard it before, and I heard Freddie Gibbs' verse before, and I was waiting for Freddie Gibbs' verse. And the whole time, the first listen to the song, the middle part where he's talking about big titty bitches, women, whatever he's saying in that section, I'm just there waiting like this for Freddie Gibbs to start rapping. I said, if this song ends without Freddie Gibbs rapping, I'm about to be pissed. So the whole first listen was just hearing Kanye repeat that and being like, Kanye, if this song doesn't end with Freddie Gibbs, we're gonna have a problem. Cause that song, especially Freddie Gibbs verse is fire.
Yeah.
And that song I feel like is ruined. Like,
yeah, it was.
You know, it's this whole, again, from that Life of Pablo time where that big titty women part is gonna catch people's eyes. People are gonna like that for that reason. That will play certain places because of that. When it's like, this could have been an actual good song. Yeah. You know, so Freddie Gibbs, I'm happy that you were on the end of that and you saved this song, but Back to Me was that's kind of the theme of this. This album is kind of like Forever 21. Forever 21, you'll go in there, you see something nice, and you're like, oh, this sweater's cool. And the more you look at it, they fucked it up somehow. There's a zipper in a place it ain't supposed to be. One shoulder is a different color than the rest. That's what this album is. The beat's good. Okay, there's something here.
The beat was good on that.
And then, Back to Me, the bad beat is fire. I think that gives me like Posse Cut vibes from like 2012, Monster, So Appalled. And then Hood Rat. Hood Rat was the one where I was like, bro.
This song is trash. Please. Yo, Hood Rat is garbage. This is actual. You like that track, seriously?
Hood Rat I like.
You like that? Bro, the portion where I don't know who that voice is that is saying Hood Rat multiple times. Shut up. Shut up.
That's hip hop.
It's so fucking annoying. It's so incessant that it's just like constantly. I'm like, dude, I skip that song immediately. I think when I first heard it, because it's the first listen, like, okay, I'll listen to this. I'm like, yo, is that ever going to stop? Like, it's
that voice is
it's so annoying. Like, I just can't. I couldn't even. I can't listen to that.
Well, I like the beat, and I think again that's a part of hip hop. I like that Hood Rap part of it. I think it gives the beat some character. My issue is Kanye's rapping. Every time he starts rapping, the song gets worse. Because on Hood Rap, I like the beat. That Hood Rap part that you don't like, I think that gives the beat some character. Okay. Ty Dolla Sign on the hook, that melody is smooth. Like Ty Dolla Sign is one of the most talented artists to have kind of assist Kanye on this journey because he's so versatile. That melody on Hood Rat is smooth. If he sang the acapella, you'd be like, oh, that's nice. And then Kanye starts rapping and it goes downhill. So that was another sign to me. It's like, there's so many parts on this album that Ty with his melodies and is carrying, and then Kanye and Hood Rat is one of those, because Hood Rat, again, when that chorus comes at first, you're like, okay, there's something here. As soon as Kanye starts rapping, you're like, anybody else. Anybody. And then last but not least, this is actually my favorite song. And because my favorite songs are songs that I still don't love, it's just a hard album to listen to all the way. But Fuck Something.
Okay.
Kanye ruins that song too.
It's actually comical how bad Kanye West is on this album.
Yeah, it's like that song was so fire before Kanye got involved. And it's funny because even Ty on the hook, that fits, but that beat is still Kanye West inspired. Like, if someone else had this song, you'd be like, okay, this gives me Cruel Summer era Kanye. And somehow Kanye on his own inspired production, it doesn't work. I don't know what it is, because Fuck Something, I think, will be the song that plays pretty often. I know Carnival is one everyone loves. I didn't love Carnival. But I think Fuck Something is gonna be the one where you'll hear that in a set in the summertime.
Right.
Maybe just the hook, but you're gonna hear that in a set at some point. I like that he has a lot of producers on here. I want to shout them out. JPEG Mafia has Russian credits on Fuck Something. 88 Keys, Mike Dean is on this a bunch of times. So from a collaboration standpoint, he's still getting all the names. Still getting all the people. But there's just so many songs on here where I don't hate the song inherently, but once Kanye gets involved, it's just like a nosedive. So I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's comically bad. It's comically bad. We mentioned the lyrics, but like even his singing is so like strained.
Yeah,
like he cannot get the words out. I'm like, yo, somebody cut this guy's mic, bro. Like, get this guy out of here. I think Kanye at this point now is a producer. Like this album, Donda 2, Donda, Jesus is King. They've been bad.
Yeah,
they've been bad.
He's a producer at this point.
He's
the worst part of them.
He's the worst part of his music now, right? Like anything he raps about, anything he says, his persona has this profound negative impact on his music now. Like if this was just all produced by Kanye and it was a Ty Dolla Sign album, it would actually be sick. Yeah, it would actually be good. There's so many good parts with Ty Dolla Sign, even the Chris Brown feature.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
The Chris Brown feature, I am I want to say anti Chris Brown for before the Rihanna thing. When I was a kid, I was like,
what did Chris Brown do to you before
I just was not buying it, you know? Like
he's too light skinned for you?
He was too light skinned. Like the way that he was dancing was a little bit too fresh.
And then you said, you know what? It all worked out.
And then I was like, I'm out on this guy. And then this Rihanna thing happened. I'm like, told you. Told you.
But his feature on here is good though.
His feature is so good. Which song is it again? Beg Forgiveness.
Beg Forgiveness, yeah.
That vocal, I mean, there's like that vocal like distortion on him that makes it sound like kind of like far away, but also like kind of demonic in a way. But it's like, it's kind of like if you were watching, or if you were playing like Game of Thrones and like one of like the monsters were like talking to you, but they could actually sing.
Yes, that's very
like
astute.
You know, it's like one of like the gods or something like that in God of War is speaking, but they could actually sing, and that element of like it sounds incredible.
Yeah,
it sounds incredible. Like his entire portion, especially the part where he's like, "You should beg for forgiveness from me." Right? And it goes to like that downward register. I think that's actually incredible.
I'll say this. We've got to give Kanye his credit because him and Chris Brown have always been good collaborators. And when they did Waves together on Life of Pablo, there was a group on Twitter who just wanted that back. They said, what does Kanye telling Chris Brown that makes him sound like that? So he brought it back and, you know, they absolutely delivered. That's my last for production, man. This album is confusing in all the wrong ways, and I'm ready to move on. So if you got something more,
I think
go ahead.
My I guess my last part of this production is like it sounds really boring. Like I think that it's just like this it reminds me of Utopia in the worst way.
Oh wow.
Where it's just like there's like this low rumble that is just like a constant through all of the songs. But I don't feel like any of the songs go anywhere. Like there is very little elevation to like maybe like any sort of crescendo or any sort of like anything. Like I feel like when you hear the first 30 seconds of the song, you hear the song. You know, like,
there's a lot of that.
There's like there's so many songs you just heard the first 30 seconds and you're like, okay, that's it.
Or when Kanye coming in ruins, I think that's a big part of it too. Because I disagree that not any of these songs go. I think some of these songs, if they do play outside, will have a life. Like I think "Fuck Something" when that plays outside, that's gonna be a big deal. But I think there was a time when Kanye on a feature or on a remix, you were waiting for the Kanye verse. You know, his verse would come in and you're like, oh, this is the opposite of that. And so I think that is the newest thing is even on his past work, the past few albums that have been subpar, this is the album the most where it's so obvious, so stark, where you're like, you know, even the song with Lil Durk on it, I'm not a Lil Durk fan, but hearing Lil Durk and Kanye West, I'm like, let me hear some more Lil Durk.
Swing the Durk.
So that's the biggest thing here, that I never thought he would have that quality of like, when it's his turn to rap, you don't want to hear it. And this is probably the album of any of his albums, I would say, that I'm probably going to forget when thinking about discography. I think I'm going to probably not even mention it, because even on Donda, Jesus is King, he had one or two songs in there that I'm like, okay, like, this is the one or two song that is still fire that only Kanye can give you. You know, I think that he had that little bit. Fuck Something, which is my favorite song off this.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of guys could have gave you that. You know, a lot of people could have gave you that. On Jesus is King, it was Use This Gospel. And, you know, having him, Clips, and Kenny G together on a track, that's a very Kanye thing. You know, who else is putting together the Clips and Kenny G? You know, so
that's true.
That even at that time, where I didn't love that most of that album, I said, okay, he's still in there. There's still something. Donda gave a little bit of that as well, because there's some songs on Donda where you're like, this is a Kanye staple. No one else has a producer rapper mix to make this happen. This album, that's just is gone. There's some producer things on here that are cool. There's some melodies on here that are cool. But I can't give him the credit for the melodies because the rapping is so bad. Ty Dolla Sign has been great at melodies for basically a decade. I'm giving Ty Dolla Sign that credit. I want to talk about Ty a little bit quickly before we go on.
Okay, I want to say one more thing. Carnival, because you mentioned Carnival before. Is Sheck West catching a bag for that? Or isn't that just Mo Bamba? Isn't that just Mo Bamba? That, whoa, oh, that's Mo Bamba.
I don't think that's his thing. I'm guessing that came out of a pack.
Yeah, you don't think so?
Yeah, I think it came out of a pack. I don't think.
No, but the choir vocals is copying Sheck West's vocal melody, because he's like, I got hoes calling, but he's using the choir vocal to basically mask that melody.
Oh, that's a good question, because it is the same melody.
It's the same melody.
So would it be interpolation?
Maybe. All I know is, like, if I'm Sheck West and I heard that shit, I'm like, where is the bag? Because I know Kanye West has it.
That is very interesting.
Where is it?
That is very interesting.
Right? That to me, I was like, oh wow, this is.
And he samples his own song too on that same song.
Yeah. And then Vultures.
Get that out of here.
Future type beat? Is that not just a Future type beat? 2016 Future type beat?
Yeah. That's Tony Montana era Future for sure. Tony Montana.
So
yeah, 100%.
This is like, Kanye has gotten to this point of like artistic bereft. Like, where is I'm failing to see.
Yeah.
I'm failing to see the parts of the Kanye experience that at the beginning we loved. At the beginning. All the way up to, I would say,
I don't even think it's the beginning. Because again, let's go back to the sections of Kanye's career.
I would say all the way up to Life of Pablo.
Life of Pablo was the last album that I really liked. Kids See Ghosts I actually really liked too.
Yeah.
But I think that even the Kanye Cruel Summer era, that's where he started kind of mixing in the like trap rap with this sound. And that was the era where it was like, oh, Kanye can sound good on a song like Mercy, you know?
Yeah.
So he's shown that even a song that like Vultures, that's not his quote unquote traditional sound, he's shown that he can still thrive on those songs.
Yeah.
So when you talk about artistically bereft, that's what I think of as like, he showed us the growth to even be like, oh my God, how is Kanye making a Niggas in Paris? This is like, you know, to where whatever that quality is
gone.
It's gone. And he's still going on those beats, but not showing that same ability. So that, I don't know where that talent went to.
Yeah.
I would talk about someone who still has their talent in Ty Dolla Sign.
Yeah.
We basically haven't mentioned him this entire project.
We sprinkled him in. We sprinkled him.
Sprinkle.
Yeah.
But I think that for him, he was probably one of the best people Kanye could have tapped to do this project with, because he's so versatile. I think the songs where he raps, it doesn't sound out of place. And his voice has a certain kind of timbre to it that really helps Kanye out in certain times when they sing together.
Yeah.
So Ty, to me, slid all over this. You know, this is I don't know if this is one of his best albums. Clearly not.
I don't think so.
But I think Ty did his thing on this, and it's unfortunate that Kanye had to bring him down.
Facts, because again, a song like "Burn," where he leads the song,
Yeah,
that track would sound amazing if it was just him. Like, a lot of the songs would just be excellent if it was just Ty Dolla Sign. Like,
yeah.
a song like "Do It," he could have just do it 1,000%. He could have just done by himself.
By himself.
Yeah.
He know he should have done, and RIP to this man, but he should have done what Diddy did with his last album.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Diddy, not even rapping on some of the songs on his last album, is what made that album as good as it was. Like, we don't need to take that every song. Right. You know, maybe you just need to intro it and then get out.
Right.
Kanye could have done a lot of that. You know, some ad-libs here and there, talking shit on an interlude. So maybe we're going in that direction, because this is probably the least amount of rap he's ever had in an album, other than Jesus is King.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. Talking about this album as a cohesive project, we can make this quick. It's not.
It's not. What cohesion? What is this about?
It's not. There's no cohesive theme.
There's no sonic idea.
It's literally Donda 3 outtakes is what it feels like. And then the cover, I do think that this is one of his more iconic covers.
Yeah.
The one that we remembered for a while. I don't know how this matches the music in a sense. That's maybe my only gripe with the cover. But I think the cover on its own is a good cover. I do think
I do think on its own. On its own,
regardless of things he said.
Yeah.
You know, this cover on its own is a good cover. But I think what I've been thinking about with covers is kind of a progression of artists. Now, last week we did Last Dinner Party.
Yeah.
Their first album. We don't have any progression in that sense. With Kanye, we have, you know, a whole discography to look at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he hasn't had, you know, anything Kanye-ish on the cover in a few projects. You know, the last Donda cover was
just black.
Jesus is King was just a picture of the vinyl.
Yeah.
Kids See Ghosts was a drawing. Ye was a picture. The Life of Pablo was a collage type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus was just a CD when people still bought CDs.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since he's had any visage that even resembles him on his project.
Yep.
I know the Bear is supposed to like be like a stand-in for him in that sense. So this is the closest we're getting to getting Kanye on the cover, is the point I'm getting to. And the fact that this is what he chooses as the way he wants to be represented on the cover, I don't know what that means for the future of his music or him as a celebrity or him as a figure. But I think that there is something there for the cover before this to be completely black.
Yeah.
And then he's dressed in all black on this cover, and, you know, you can't even tell it's him.
Yeah, he has this fascination of like not being visible.
Mm-hmm.
Like over the past 3 years, he's always wearing like all black or like an all black mask or
and no
like
draws.
allegedly. I'm not paying attention to that. I'm not paying attention to that. But
no draws and no socks.
Yeah, he's just wearing all black constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you've seen him in the Super Bowl ad, he was wearing all black, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see him anywhere. He's just wearing all black all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So he has this like, I don't know what it is. Nobody knows. I don't even know if Kanye knows why he's wearing all black all the time for like, seriously, it's been like 3 years.
More than 3 years.
Because he was wearing straight black.
Wasn't he wearing a mask when him and Drake did that concert? Wasn't he still wearing, I don't know if he wore a mask during the concert, but wasn't that the mask era?
No, I think that was right before. I think that was right before.
Oh, true, because that's when he's doing the Hoover pants and all that. Yeah.
So that was right before. But ever since that, he's been wearing all black everything.
I personally think it's something to do with his apparel deals. I think there's something of that in there. And I think that you're right. I don't know if Kanye even knows what he's doing in this sense.
I don't think he does.
I'm not going to give him the credit there. But I do think it's something to do with the apparel deals, because remember he was wearing those tall rain boots? And everyone was like, are people going to really wear these? Is this really going to be a thing? It kind of was, kind of wasn't, like depending on, you know, your circles. But I do think that you talked about self-awareness, and this ties into how it affects his career. He's aware of how influential he is as a person, let alone fashion, music, any of that. And I think that there's been multiple times over the past decade and plus that he wears a certain look, a certain style, a certain silhouette, and that's copied right away.
Yeah.
This is almost the antithesis of that, where it's like, you're not gonna copy this. You know, you're not going outside dressed like this. So I think there's something there of like, I'm not gonna give any more game away. You know, this is gonna be what I wear these days.
Yeah.
I think in terms of Kanye's career, I don't think this affects it negatively. As much as I don't like the album, I think that I've seen enough love online for the project, which is Kanye, so I shouldn't be surprised, but I actually am after hearing it multiple times.
Yeah.
And I think that he's not going to be hitless. I think he's a legacy act. He's in that group of artists where, you know, the album is defined on what hits you have in the album. It's kind of like Miguel. People say Miguel fell off. You know, there's one album that had all the hits, Adore and How Many Drinks. You know, the next album had a couple. The album after that had not as many hits, but still a good project. But we know you by the hits. You're right. So I think this album will have more hits than Donda, because there is Fuck Something, there is Carnival, there is what's the one, Burn. I think those three have a chance of being played in a set, at a club, at a bar, that will give this album more notoriety. Because Donda, as much as it was a huge deal for however long he was running around for, there's not really a hit from that album in a commercial radio sense. Yeah. I think this, I don't think it's going to be played on the radio, but I do think there is more of a chance that some of these songs will play outside more.
Yeah, I think for his overall career, I don't really know. Like, I think honestly, this is one of the first times I didn't really have a clear-cut answer to that, because I think that Kanye West is, I think I said this at the top, like Kanye West is one of the most like influential like people in the 21st century.
Yeah, right. Yeah, period.
And probably for like the past like 100 years or something like that. He's like he's very extremely influential in so many ways. From like his art, just his art overall, whether you're talking about his fashion, like art, fashion, music videos, right?
Anything he does, honestly.
Yeah, like any sort of art that he makes or contributes to is extremely influential or important. But this is bad. Like, this is a bad album. Like, I'm gonna say that right now. Like, this is pretty bad. And considering his public persona, causing like a public downfall, basically. He caused it himself. Bad public persona plus bad album does not scream to me good going forwards. But again, but Kanye West is like, again, one of the most influential artists of our generation, like not even close.
I think I don't know if you saw those leaks that there's a tour coming. Did you see that? I think that's actually going to happen. So I think the tour will be the test of,
people are still going to show up for that, though. That's the thing. Like, he's still...
People still gonna show up. Will people be protesting? Will it become, something where your friends judge you for going? Because I've seen Kanye West live twice. Worth every penny. Worth every penny. I don't know that if I would see him again because I've seen him twice. But if I hadn't seen him before, maybe I would buy a ticket to that show. Is that going to be something that your friends judge you for? Yeah. If you go see Kanye or that kind of thing. So I think this will be the test. I think he'll be sold out. I think it will be business as usual in that sense. But I think this will be the test because, his remarks outside of music have cost him money in
billions
in his other things.
Billions, billions of dollars.
But it hasn't cost him money as of yet when it comes to his business. Now, he hasn't toured in a few years, so I don't know if that's a part of it. But I think when you're making billion and selling shoes, you might not want to go on the road for 3 months. Yeah. So we're gonna see how that affects the music, because I think now we're at a time where I was gonna say offend enough people. He's offended the right people, where they're not gonna let him do that anymore. I think there's certain groups you can offend and still be in business in that way, and there's certain groups you can't offend and be business in that way. So I think he's offended the wrong people, and that may be stifling his fashion business. So I think we're gonna see, can music be the moneymaker again? Will that be a thing for him? Because I think that for all these years he's put out albums kind of for the buzz and everything, but he hasn't toured them. It hasn't been his prime way of making money. Yeah. Will that be able to happen again? Before we get to the nitty gritty, let's talk about. We talked about the cover already.
Yeah, we did. Talk
okay, so are you going to be getting the vinyl?
Absolutely not. Are you? I'm almost offended that you asked me that question.
Had to ask.
I'm almost
Had to
offended.
ask.
I might be actually offended that you asked me that question because you would have to pay me a crazy amount of money to purchase this to get this on vinyl.
I think this is the album because you've heard this before. People try and collect all of Kanye's albums on vinyl.
Yeah, this is skippable.
I myself, I think, have 4 of the albums on vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
Once I get the full collection, this will not be included. I will get the ones that I get, and I'll say I have a full collection.
Mm-hmm.
Without Vultures, I have everything you need to have. So this is a no for me as well.
Yeah.
It's such a very interesting album to review. I'm actually really kind of watching how this goes for him, especially because he's selling his apparel now on his website, $20 for everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so interested to see how all of this goes. But let's get to what we're here for. The score. Where are you at with this?
Yeah, for me, I think this is I want to say a 3 out of 10. Okay. This is not good. Like, this is genuinely bad. Like, if we're being honest.
3, it's cold in here.
Yeah. If we're being honest with oneself, right? First of all, it's almost impossible to separate Kanye West from his music.
Mm-hmm.
But the parts that we highlighted is just like it's technically bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the raps don't fit the bars, right? The singing is not good, right? The production is like stale or it's boring or like Future type beat. Doesn't this sound like Sheck West's Mo Bamba? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, these are just like elements that are just not good. Like, regardless of who was making it, like, these are just like not good things to be done. And then when it comes to him lyrically, he just betrays himself. Or is he even trying to betray himself? Maybe he just doesn't even care, right? So then there's that on top of it where it's just like, anytime he opens his mouth and like you're actually like listening to the words, it's an eye roll. It's an eye roll or just like turn this off, bro.
Yes.
Like, his rapping is genuinely garbage. Like, it's actually extremely bad. And there's so many of the songs that Kanye West himself, via his appearance on it, he's ruining the track. Like, Ty Dolla Sign is doing so much work to make sure like a song like Do It like arrives and actually sounds solid, or Burn, right? Or Chris Brown is somehow, like he's making Beg Forgiveness, that sounds good. Like, these guys are doing so much vocal work to make the song sound good, and then as soon as Kanye West pops up, you're like, stop. And if you're having that situation with more, I mean, I think I maybe genuinely like 3 of the songs, right? And that's out of 16. So even my 3 is a generous 3. Right.
That's rough.
Right. It's not good. It's probably a 2.5. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's probably a 2.5.
Okay.
And I think that might be the lowest rating I've ever given an album.
That's wild. 2.5 is hectic. I like 5 songs on here, and by that mathematics, Kanye West and Ty Dolla Sign Vultures should be a 3 out of 10.
See what I'm saying? Like, it's not good. Like,
my original score was a 4 because I think production-wise on this project, there are so many things that were grading Kanye on the scale of Kanye. And I always try and give those artists, an extra point, because there are some beats on here that if we'd if we'd reviewed Benny the Butcher and he had some of these beats, we would have been like, oh my God, Benny, look at you.
Yeah.
So I think obviously Kanye is basically the most influential rapper of this generation, and we have to kind of treat him as such. But production-wise, I didn't hate everything on here. I just hated his part of it. Once he started rapping, that's why I didn't like it. So I'm going to stick with my score of a 4. This album is not good. This is...
But you're saying it's a 4, but it's not good. It's really like...
4 is not good. 4 is not good.
Yeah, it's 4 is subpar.
Yeah, 4 is not good. And again, I do think we're grading Kanye on the Kanye scale. The same way we grade Benny on the Benny scale. It's like we didn't say, Benny, we're looking for ingenious production from you. Kanye, we're used to that. And so him doing things that make no sense, we're like,
Yeah.
So I don't like this project. There are 5 songs that I like. I think that some songs will grow on me. That's kind of what Kanye has always done, is that there's some of these songs that maybe you hear later and they grow on you. But I don't feel confident in that with this project. So 4 out of 10. This is a Kanye album, take out of the ranking. When everyone asks you what your favorite Kanye album is, leave this one unranked. leave this one unranked. And I want to give everyone a throwback to all of you who are old enough to remember this time. 11 years ago, Yeezus came out.
Yeah.
And remember when Yeezus came out, people were giving Yeezus the same talk that we're giving Vultures. Of the Kanye albums, we're not even going to include it. He fell off. He's done for. Think about how good Yeezus sounds next to Vultures. And that's where we're at. Because Yeezus still stands out as like, you know, an aggressive left in his discography. But when you hear that compared to this, it's almost like, okay, this dude didn't finish school. This dude has his master's, you know? So yeah, I'm not in love with this project. I'm excited to hear what you guys think. Obviously, very controversial.
Yeah, it's going to get hot.
In and out the booth. But I saw a lot of love online. So if you love this album, get into the comments. Let us know. Find us on YouTube at Album Mode, on the interwebs at Album Mode Pod on Twitter.
If you hate the album, I want to hear from you too, because I want to hear from the haters too.
I want to hear one more here if you like it. I want to hear if you like it. Everyone is a moral police.
Oh my God.
Now there are some people who are gonna just hate it because they feel like they need to. You know, I want the people who are liking it in despite of that. You know, you know this is wrong and you love it anyways. Those are the people I want to hear from them. But find us on Twitter at Album Mode Pod.
I want to see your mental gymnastics, please.
Exactly. Instagram at Album Mode Pod. TikTok at Album Mode Pod. Of course, on our way to 5,000. Make sure you share this video, like this video, and of course, stay subscribed. And until next time, know yourself, know your worth.
Later days. This is going to be in the NBA Youngboy zone for sure, I think.